Welcome to Unlocking Your Truth, another podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and with Corey. And as you know, this is a show that focuses on metaphysics and spirituality. And today we have a fabulous guest who is going to inspire us listeners. Our guest she's Maryann Ridini Spencer, and she has written a book called Lady in the Window. And in her book, she provides inspiration and a blueprint of how to achieve personal and professional happiness. Her book encourages and empowers women and men to live authentic lives, take joy and give gratitude for the blessings that they have, and to have the courage, hope, and faith to move beyond their trials and tribulations. So it says there is a light that shines to bring comfort and personal happiness. And I'm sure we can all identify with those trials and tribulations of life. So I can't wait to talk to Maryann and discover what she has to say and what wisdom she has to share that can help us with all of that. Before I invite her to speak, I'm just going to read some of her biography. She's actually an award-winning screenwriter, producer, author, journalist, television host, and president of Ridini Entertainment Corporation, which is a content creation, PR, marketing, and TV and film production company. She's a member of the Producers Guild of America and the Writers Guild of America, and she's produced movies and series on television networks such as CBS, Showtime, Sci-Fi, TMC, USA Networks, and Time Warner. She has a really, really impressive bio, and I could go on, but let's meet the lady herself. Maryann, welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Well, it's a delight to have you on the show, and yeah, we're really excited to talk to you about your book. And so tell us a bit more about Lady in the Window and how you came up with the idea.
Sure. Well, I always wanted to write a novel. I have written for TV and film, and I'm a lifestyle journalist. But something that I always said I would do and wanted to do was write a novel. And finally, I put myself on a schedule. But before that, I was walking down a beautiful road in Cutchogue, New York, out on the North Fork of Long Island, on the opposite fork from the Hamptons, in a beautiful town. And I was thinking about writing my novel. Well, what's the subject? What could it be? And into my brain pops Lady in the Window. And I thought, wow, I like that title. And then I figured I'm going to create a book around that title. And I knew at that moment I wanted to write about spirit helping a loved one on earth. And I don't know why I wanted to write about it, but I had that thought during that walk. And it took me probably another year to get down to actually write it. And I placed it initially in Europe during World War II. And I changed completely when I took a trip with my family to Kauai.
So did you fall in love with Kauai?
Yes, fell in love, totally. It's so gorgeous. And I love going to Hawaii. And my husband and I have a place in Kona on the Big Island. And I love that island too, because it's very mystical and very old Hawaii. But I had never been to Kauai. I'm not sure why. We'd been to all the other islands. But when I went there, I said, oh my goodness. It was like I was taking a walk back thousands of years, going through Honolulu in Old Town, taking a trip across that steel truss bridge that goes from Princeville into Honolulu. And it was so magical. I thought to myself, I've got to place it here.
Mm.
because it's about spirit.
Yeah, and it's such an ancient place and such a great place to go to connect with spirit, the whole of the Hawaiian Islands, actually. So talking about the Hawaiian Islands, it seems you say that the spirit of Aloha comes alive in the book. Tell us about the spirit of Aloha.
Absolutely. Well, I was familiar with the spirit of Aloha before I wrote the book, before I went to Kauai. But I really connected to its meaning during that trip for many reasons. Now, the spirit, Aloha, first of all, is a greeting. And it's also a way to say goodbye to somebody. So you use it for both hello and goodbye. But the deeper meaning, I discovered, it's by living by a certain code of ethics, which includes kindness, tolerance, compassion, respect, honor of your neighbor, your family and friends, care of your neighbor, family and friends. And it also includes the deliberate preservation of the earth and its resources. And beyond that, it's the joyful sharing of life and all this planet has to offer in a sustainable way. And Hawaiians believe that when you live like that, when you live joyously, when you live with aloha, when you take care of your family and friends, when you are kind and generous and tolerant, it creates this mana, this spiritual mana that uplifts all of humanity. And I just love that. And I thought, what a place for my character to heal, because my character, Kate, suffers some losses and her world is rocked. So she has to kind of regroup. And when a friend offers her a cottage in Hanalei to stay, she quiets herself. She takes walks in nature. She kind of processes all the things that have happened to her. And she starts asking, what is it I need? What is it I want? What do I want to do professionally? She knows what she wants personally. It hasn't manifested yet. What can she do? So she heals herself by living in that beautiful town and letting herself heal, because otherwise, before that, she was on a fast track. She was living in a city, working night and day, and a little bit too much of a workaholic.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to regroup.
Sounds familiar. I'm sure a lot of people will completely identify with that. And so really your blueprint for how to achieve personal and professional happiness is built around the spirit of aloha and exploring that theme.
Yes, it's that. And because if you really look at it, when you're happy, when you take gratitude for the things in your life, when you express love to other people, you don't always get that in return. You don't necessarily do it expecting that. But when you have a certain feeling and thought about how you want to start your day and enjoy the little things, give thanks for the little things, smile at someone you meet on the street, you'll be surprised what can happen and how being positive like that can make you feel better. And when you help other people, you get a good feeling. And that's the whole thing I do talk about. That happens to Kate, but also living your authentic life can make you happy. And how do you do that? Well, you have to quiet your mind, maybe meditate, but ask yourself questions. Am I happy? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I think people really know the answer to these questions if they allow themselves to just take a break and listen to what their intuition is telling them.
Well, Maryann, you're talking about taking breaks and things like that. I'm looking at your bio, and I know how busy that the industry can be that you were involved in. When on earth did you find time to write a book?
Well, this is the thing. When I go and I'm in nature, whether it be in Southern California, whether it be on the East Coast of the United States or in Hawaii, I make sure I have time to take a break from it all, because I am very busy. I have a very busy life, personally and professionally. And I always have been striving to find balance. And I had to calendar it. And that's how I did my novel. I took out a calendar and I said, okay, I know me, if I have an outline, an outline that I know that takes time to work on. But if I have an outline, if I sit down with that outline, I know that I can probably write 20 pages a week. And that's what I did. And I put on the calendar, 20, 40, 60, and I finished, and I could do that in 3 days, in 4 days. It may take 7 days, but I only did 20 a week. I didn't want to force myself to do too much. And doing that, I also take the time to do it in the morning, early in the morning. So I got up a little earlier before my day started. And, because I'm also a producer and I do a lot of other lifestyle writing, I wanted to set that time aside to really enjoy the experience, because I think when you write, it has to come from a place, at least this book, of joy and of allowing yourself to kind of go on a journey with the character. So that's what I did. And I found it to be so enjoyable. And I actually had energy for it.
How much of the book and the main character draws upon your own experiences from your own life? Well,
I didn't necessarily plan on Kate drawing from my life at all, because initially, when I had the idea for Lady in the Window, I did set it during World War II, and I had a whole different theme unfolding. But going to Hawaii and getting just immersed in the Aloha spirit, into nature, quieting my mind, I thought I wanted to take that theme of an angelic being helping someone on Earth, but also I wanted to incorporate the theme of aloha and healing, because I do think that we all suffer losses, whether it be the loss of a job, the loss of a friend, through something that happens. Maybe it's through death, losing a parent, losing a loved one. And I just wanted to explore that theme. And oddly enough, my mom passed away when I was in the middle of the novel. And I decided at that point I had to write about that experience. And I incorporated that into the book, my experience of my mom, because she was a very amazing woman and very important in my life, and it just fit. And sometimes they say authors draw from their life and what they know, but I felt that in addition to Kate going through certain other personal things, that this would be an important experience to share. And I just wanted to do that. And it was actually very healing for me. I didn't anticipate it, but it was a very healing experience.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask you, if it helped you to heal and helped you to grieve and helped you come to terms with your mom's passing.
It did. And you know what, also, what I discovered while I was writing, so many things happened while I was writing this book. I think I was meant to write it. And the timing couldn't have been more perfect. But my brother had given, I have 5 other siblings, 4 brothers and a sister. And one of my brothers gave us the boxes my parents had kept each one for us. And in my box, I had their little cards and gifts that we gave them and things like that. But in there, I found stories that I wrote when I was 13 or 14, 12, 13, 14. I completely forgot I wrote them. But one of them had to do with that theme, about how our spirits and loved ones live on. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm writing about this now. And all of a sudden I get this box and it reminds me, I completely forgot.
That's amazing. I would love to be able to go back and get a box like that and see some of the things that I wrote when I was younger.
I know, it was like I completely forgot it until I saw that I wrote it. So I read these stories and I'm thinking, where did this stuff come from? But I think what the experience told me, and I wrote about it in Lady in the Window and in the subsequent sequel book, The Paradise Table, which is coming out later this year, about synchronicity. And I know that you've heard that. Carl Jung coined it as being meaningful coincidences if they occur with no casual relationship, yet they seem to be meaningfully related. Well, that happened so much in my life while I was writing the book. And I think that experience about getting that box is a synchronistic event. And there were many others that happened. But see, Kate, the character, one thing in terms of getting in touch with what she wants for her authentic life and her personal and professional goals, she also discovers her intuition and how she is getting messages when she's calm, allowing her to kind of tap into spirit messages. And I believe that people can do that. I believe everyone has intuition. I believe we're guided. And I know that I've had lots of experience with it. And I wanted to put that in the novel as well, because I felt it fit perfectly in this setting, because the Hawaiians believe in that. And I just thought, and I also wanted to write about spirit in a beautiful way, not spooky, but mysterious, intriguing, and but not in a scary horror way.
Well, that's really wonderful, and let's delve a bit more deeply into that mystical aspect, into that intuitive aspect when we come back after the break. And listeners, you've been listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and with Corey, and we have a wonderful guest, Maryann Ridini Spencer. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, listeners, to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and Corey, and today's guest, Maryann Ridini Spencer. Do you think, as the reader is reading the book, that the book assists them to reflect upon themselves, their own life, their own romantic relationships, to question whether they're in the best relationship for them, to understand the meaning of what is a soulmate, or what is a partner that
you're in line, that you resonate with it, that you share similar goals and values, because I think that's what makes something that's really a good foundation to work from. And yes, there are a lot of reasons why I wrote the book, but I did want to, again, convey that message, the first message of spirit helping a loved one on earth. But also, I did deliberately put certain things in there about the healing process and how she gets to heal. I think it's so important because, again, there's so many hurts in life, and we have to come out of those and know that while we may not understand why we have to go through them, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that you can make changes. And if you're in line, the thing that's the most important, though, you need to be in line with your true self before you make these major decisions. And you kind of have to know who you are, what you want, and then things will, you can make beautiful things happen.
Absolutely, and sometimes life is moving so quickly that we lose touch of that. I think Corey wants to ask a question.
Well, I don't want to interrupt you, so that like maybe nod or something.
Okay.
I have an associate in California, and she's a Buddhist monk, and she writes a lot of smaller books to help people through. And one of her favorite topics is on relationships. And my favorite book that she's read is Be the One You Want to Find.
That's true.
And it's very apropos. I mean, it agrees, I think, totally with what you've just been saying. You have to be yourself. You have to be in full touch with who you are before you can be in a full relationship with someone else.
Right. And then you can also appreciate the things that other person brings to you, and vice versa. I think then you can really learn things and enjoy things. But I think there's certain core values. And in the book, Kate has a successful career. She wants to continue doing that. She loves what she does. But she wants to do some other things with that. But, that's kind of going okay. But the relationship isn't. And she needs to kind of get a grip on that, because it's running. She's becoming sad, and she's noticing things that are hurting her. So she kind of has to look at it really and make the make a decision, but also find out where that person is really coming from, because his actions are not mimicking his words.
So is this a bit of an autobiography as well, or?
No, I mean, I think the main, for me, the part about the mother and the inspiration from my mom, and certain things about intuition and synchronicity. She likes to cook. That's me. I wanted to put those things, but I only put them in because it fit with how she heals herself in terms of the whole cooking and gathering and being with family and friends. And it's also, it parlays into the next book, The Paradise Table. So there's, I'm having a lot of fun with that. But I think we all go through relationships where, especially when we're younger, we might not say everything that's, we might not know everything about ourselves, but we might want something but not say it. I mean, there's a million relationships books out there, and people saying that you shouldn't tell someone if you're dating them for the first date that you eventually want to get married. I mean, I'm saying go for it. Tell them you want to get married. Are you kidding? Why not? It's a beautiful thing. And if they don't think it is, or if they're nervous about it, maybe your flag should go up, and it's just like, if that's what you want, be yourself. If you don't want it, that's okay too, but you have to let people know who you are, not be afraid. And I think when you're strong in yourself, you can let people know who you are. And they may like it, they may not like it, but that's okay, as long as you like you and you have friends and family that you love.
I agree. I mean, I'm all for being authentic and open and honest. I think that we contort ourselves in so many ways by trying to please others or fit into the expectations of others. I often think that if everyone in our world followed their intuition, listened to their intuition, and tuned into that side of things, you wouldn't be able to have anything but an honest and authentic world, because we would all see through the veil of illusion and facade. So let's explore how your character Kate learns about her intuition and starts to listen to her intuition and what form that comes in. And also tell us a little bit about yourself and your own experience with intuition.
Sure. Well, intuition, sometimes it's just a knowing. It could be, you might have it, even a prophetic dream, and then it happens. Or you might get, I shouldn't really go down that road today. And then you realize there was a fire or something horrific, a terrible accident. It could be something good where you feel you're getting ready to go to work and you just feel good, like something great's going to happen at work today, and you get a promotion out of the blue. It's just, and it's taking that in, and instead of saying, oh, that's rubbish, or I once had something, I get intuition a lot having to do with work, which has been very helpful in my work. And sometimes you have a feeling after something happens where, I better take care of that situation because it could get out of hand if I don't. And if you ignore it, oh yes, it does. And so you kind of learn by trial and error to trust yourself or not, with certain messages that you're getting, or just little thoughts that pop into your head. And that's what Kate does. And she also feels certain things. Like she feels, besides getting the signs, like most people believe that if you find a feather, in many cultures, that's an angelic sign. And it comes, for her, something like that happens, but she also feels it in her body. She feels different. There are a lot of different little things that kind of clue her in. And if she was rushing about and busy and not paying attention, she might easily miss those clues. But if she because she's quiet and she took time off from her job and she's kind of relaxed, in a relaxed state, she has dreams. She realizes she's remembering her dreams, and they're telling her things that she realizes are happening. Or there might be a synchronistic event. You find an item on the beach, and that turns out to be related to something in the future, and it's a combination, feeling, getting the intuitive, knowing. It could be like a surge of energy in your body. You might just feel fabulous, and why am I feeling so like amazing? And so it's all different things, and it's definitely her dreams, because things come to her in her dreams that get validated in the real world when she's awake. So all of those things, they're little pieces and I kind of deliberately did it as a puzzle, because that's how it is in life, and it helps her come to terms in this particular thing with knowing what's good for her life, and also that she is connected to her loved ones that have passed. And it gives her a feeling of happiness, even though she misses the person. She still feels they're around. She feels them, and they show her they're around.
So she sounds kind of like a cool role model, actually, in terms of, I teach people how to develop their intuition, and I use my intuition all the time. But you nailed it when you talked about some of the things that stop people tuning into their intuition. Number one is being too busy, running around from one thing to the next, and number two is mind chatter. So can't shut the mind up, because the mind just keeps thinking of my to-do list and this and that and the other. And number three is emotions being out of control or triggered. Mm-hmm. And so, learning to take the time to calm the mind, to quiet the emotions, to turn within, to meditate. Absolutely, that's the way to connect with your higher mind, with your higher guidance. And so it's wonderful to hear about this lovely adventure of Kate discovering that for herself. So how does she communicate with the is it her mother that's died in the story?
There are I don't want to tell you everybody. There's more than one spirit, but her mom is the connection.
Yeah. So how does she communicate with her mum? Is it through all these various ways that you were talking about, or is there a more specific direct?
It is all these ways, and she also there are things that, and this is where I did put in some of the things that happened to me. There are electrical things that happen. She actually hears a voice in her head at a very important time, a voice in her ear, rather, I should say. And dreams are very big. And there are certain kinds of dreams that you may have that you sense you were with that person. They feel very real, and you can remember them very clearly when you wake up and for a long time after.
Yeah.
And she kind of learns how to distinguish between just a dream and a message in a dream. And so her mother does speak to her in her dreams.
Yeah.
And in her ear once in a while, like not like full sentences, they're not. But she also allows herself, when she's missing her, to say, "Hi, Mom," or "I miss you," or, she allows herself to speak to her mother. And sometimes she will get a clue or some kind of a sign that it's been heard.
Yeah. I like very much that you've woven in the idea that intuition isn't just one thing. I mean, that can be another thing that blocks people, is that they think it looks a certain way, and if they're not doing it that certain way, that they're not doing it, and they get very confused. But you're right, it can come as a knowing, it can come as a voice, it can come as a sense or a feeling. It can come as a vision. It can come as a dream. There are so many ways that you can connect with the world of spirit.
And I think that's what she does, all of those things.
Yeah.
And she doesn't say to herself, maybe a few times, what was that all about? But she doesn't say, "Oh, that's rubbish," or, I'm not going to listen to that, because she's in a place where she's open, I think, because she's gone through this experience. So she's kind of like, okay, show me.
Yeah.
She's asking, she wants the guy.
Yeah. And actually, you just nailed another one of the things that people struggle with, which is doubt, because we are so trained and programmed in our intellectual minds to think logically about the world, that it's so easy for us to doubt and discount intuition, because that's an instantaneous knowing. It's not something that has to be figured out or the pros and cons of it weighed up. But often what people will do is they'll have their intuitive insight, and then immediately it'll get channeled through the thinking brain. And as soon as that happens, it's gone. They're doubting it. They're discarding it.
One of the wonderful things that I've discovered talking to people who've read the book, and also doing a lot of research after I wrote the book, is that a lot of people have had these experiences, and they've had experiences with spirit. And it was amazing to me, even the medical community, scientific minds who believe that most of them don't think this is, whoa, no way. But I read books written by doctors, and I researched people who work in ERs and who work in hospice, and what they've seen and heard. I was like, oh my goodness, it was amazing to me.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, the world is really opening up. I teach meditation as well, and 10 years ago, the corporate world would see that as the land of woo, and now they're embracing it. And now science is studying ER doctors and ER nurses to find out how they make those instantaneous decisions, because they're doing it with their intuition. They're not doing it with their logical mind. How does a soldier in the battlefield make an instantaneous decision? It's with his intuition. It's not with his logical mind. So it's really starting to be validated, and hopefully will, just as meditation has, become more of a mainstream thing. And the more that people are meditating, then the more they're going to be having these experiences with their intuition. Now with that, I'm going to go to another break, and then when we come back from the break, we might even share some of our listeners' questions with you, Maryann, because we get a lot of questions about relationships, and we get a lot of questions about life purpose and all of the themes that you're exploring in your book. So we
have questions.
Welcome back, listeners, to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and Corey, and today's guest, Maryann Ridini Spencer. We've been talking to Maryann about her novel, Lady in the Window, which is a wonderful tale that weaves together themes of aloha, themes of karmic romance, themes of communicating with spirit and following your intuition. And so it's time to see if we can pull out some of your questions and see if we can give you a helping hand from our experience. And so, Corey, you've probably highlighted some things that you think might be relevant to share, have you?
I have. I just wanted to let our listeners know again that that we've started videoing the responses to a lot of these questions, and they'll be on our website very shortly as well, so they can go on and actually see their responses. But Maryann, we've got some questions for you, and they're going to be a lot of fun. Okay, the first one's from Riza, and Riza wants to know. Love, it feels like 2018 is going to be my year. New vehicle, job, and the question is, what about a relationship? I met a younger male. He's kind of handsome, but way younger.
Oh. How much?
She doesn't say. I think the question is, I think the question is, should I or shouldn't I?
You know, what I say to that, I think it's a matter of communication. And how much younger is he really? I know many people who have been married, both men and women, to younger and older. I know it usually happens where a woman marries an older man, but there are many women who marry younger men. And just as long as they know what they have the same goals in mind and what they want, it depends what, where they are in their life. Obviously, if a woman is, past childbearing years and her younger lover wants to have children, there might be an issue unless they can agree to adopt or something like that. But I think it's all communication, and really, why not?
Yes,
I agree.
Go for it.
And I just took a quick look at the energy of these two people, and I would just say it looks, Raisa, like a fantastic match vibrationally. You're on the same page. You're resonating with each other. There's a really strong attraction. And in a way, from a spiritual perspective, what is age? We're eternal. We're eternal beings. Yes, our bodies have been here for different lengths of time, but I'm just seeing that there's a huge connection with you and this person, and it looks fantastic. Go for it.
One of the things with the questions that we like our listeners to know as well is we don't answer future questions. We won't tell people their quote unquote fortune, but Dr. Lesley likes to let them know what they can do today in order to make themselves available for those blessings to come into our life. So some of these questions may be futuristic, but we don't expect you to be a fortune teller on them. So here's one from Delia. Delia says, I'm interested in knowing if the path I'm currently on will change over the next 3 months in a way that will bring me closer to my life purpose and a committed love relationship.
I can answer that. I would like to say, why don't you do a treasure map and figure out what it is you want? Because only you can decide your future. And it starts in the mind. Cut out images from magazines or words from magazines and do a board for your personal life. Do one for your professional life. I actually did it before I wrote my novel, and I did put one in there for a future novel that I was going to write. And I put it away, and lo and behold, I found it, and I had already written the book. It was already published. I'm like, yeah, good, treasure map. It's a fun thing. It's a fun exercise, and I think it really can help you get in touch with what it is you want. But you really just, I think those kinds of things, meditate, like Dr. Lesley was saying earlier, calm yourself, get in touch with your intuition, and you'll know the right steps.
I think that's a really great answer, because what you're, I've forgotten this lady's name, but what you're explaining is, yes, first, number one, you need to know yourself, know what you want, and then intend that you will have what you want. And what doing that treasure map does is it focuses your awareness and your intention on what you're wanting to create in a really fun, high vibration way. So you look at that treasure map and you feel really good because you know all the things that you want, and you know that you're moving towards them, and that feeling in itself helps you create the future that you're wishing for, that you're hoping for. And ultimately, you create your own reality. So it's about creating that vibrational feeling and that vibrational match for the set of circumstances that you're wanting to invite into your life. So I agree with Maryann that that's some really great advice. And I'll just take a quick look and see if there's anything else that of use that we can say. That really is it. It's about you switching your perspective and realizing that you create your own reality, because I'm seeing that you do have some beliefs in your system that say that life is something that is dealt like a deck of cards. It's like fate. It's like something that comes along that's outside of your control, that someone else is orchestrating the play, and that's not true. It's you. You're the God of your own universe. You're the creator of your own life. And by focusing your thoughts and your attentions and your desires and your energy and your vibration, that's how you get the life that you want.
I even read somewhere that you can get a box, and I don't know where I read this, but it said, whatever is contained in this box is. And you can cut out pictures and things and stick it in that box and then go through it every once in a while.
I love that. I love that. That's really great. Yeah, I know of another technique that someone was telling me about where they have an imaginary box and they put their wishes for humanity and the planet and hold the energy.
Speaking of that, I am involved with someone right now. We did a petition for the American Spirit Bill, and we have a website, americanspiritbill.com, and it's all about that. It's taking up where the Aloha Spirit Bill left off, because in 1986 the Hawaiians made the Aloha Spirit Bill law, and this American Spirit Bill, it's just about uplifting people with positive thinking and thoughts, and just focusing all our thoughts and helping our politicians to focus on the true meaning of each other, the Aloha spirit. And it takes up just beautifully where that left off, I think. So we're just trying to get that to happen. Some people will say, well, how do you expect to enforce it? Well, you can't. But it's great to have people think about the law of attraction and what you're thinking and how you're acting and how that impacts everybody else.
Well, yes, and to take responsibility and realize, I think so many people think they can't make a difference, but how you make a difference is by taking responsibility for your own energy. And this is a way that we all can help change our world. Corey?
People don't understand that, though, Dr. Lesley.
No, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Maryann.
No, I think that what Dr. Lesley just said is so important, that I don't think people necessarily understand what their energy is and how their energy and their thoughts can impact those and themselves. I don't know if a lot of people they really understand that.
No, well, they don't. The vast majority of people don't. But more people are waking up, and the more people that wake up, the more critical mass there is, and the faster it goes. And you probably are aware, and we all who have some level of awareness can say, life has been speeding up lately. Things have been moving faster. Things have been changing faster. Things that have been repressed for hundreds or thousands of years are changing. You just have to look at that Me Too movement, or what happened with the banking system. All of these glitches in our reality are starting to show up. The shift is the opportunity for shift in a positive way is definitely here, and we can make an impact.
There's a group that we follow in a process they have that comes from Hawaii. It's called the Intenders of the Highest Good, and it creates a manifestation circle for people where you get together and support each other's manifestations, and it really does work. It's wonderful, and Lesley found something. There was a coach online, which actually leads me to the next question, online the other day, and he gave us a little tip on manifesting what you want in life. And this is the cutest little tip that I've heard in a long time. If you have something you want to manifest, to set an intention in, for instance, I want to weigh, one I put down was I have a specific weight I want to hit. Make it your password. So I weigh 190 pounds. That's my password to get on my computer. So every day I get on my computer 3 or 4 times, I have to type in that password. Isn't it like he calls it quirky, but isn't it wonderful to be able to keep those things in mind? And there's a simple way to do it.
Well, there are books written on it, to wake up, when you wake up and at night, think on what you want, or ask the universe, ask God, or whatever you believe. And many artists would find solutions and mathematicians in their sleep, what they would find. Their subconscious mind they'd either wake up knowing, or they'd have a dream, and then they wake up. And so a lot of artists use that technique. They put it out there and ask a question in the morning or the evening, and or even with something that you want to manifest, you can do that at that time too. because we're more open, obviously.
Yeah. You know, I just want to add another little fantastic tip that actually I got from Abraham Hicks from Ask and It Is Given. And there's an exercise in there where you get a piece of paper and you basically put your to-do list. And on one side is me, and on the other side is the universe. And you put on your to-do list the things that you're going to do today, and everything else that you need to get done today, but maybe is overwhelming, you give it to the universe. And it works amazingly. I get on with my writing some days, and I ask the universe to just book me some clients, and it does. Fantastic.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
So here's a question, one more question I think we can handle, and this is from Alita. And Lita wants to know, as she says, as a Heal Your Life coach, who am I here to serve?
She is a Heal Your Life coach.
Yes.
Both herself and her clients.
Or source energy, which we all are.
Mm-hmm.
Or God, if you use the word God.
Mm-hmm. Because I think you have to, you have to be your authentic self. You have to be healing yourself, and you have to be whole before you can. I think that is such a good role model, but it also helps other people follow by example.
Yeah, and that's what's behind her question. I'm seeing is that she sort of desperately wants to heal and help other people, and she wants to be successful at what she's doing, but she looks like she's a bit stuck. And the reason that she's a bit stuck is that she's not. You have to walk the path of the healer. You have to heal yourself every step of the way. And so exactly, it's both.
It's an energetic thing
Mm-hmm.
too, right?
Yeah.
Because if her energy is in line, the healing energy, I mean, I think you can translate that. People feel that.
Yes.
You know,
Well, and I'll also just add to that, of course, as a spiritual practitioner of any kind, every single person that comes to see you, that you give a healing to, or you give counseling to, they are reflecting what you need to see about yourself. Therefore, after seeing every client, it is a really good practice to turn within and see what matches within me to what that client brought to me, and use that as an opportunity for healing that within yourself that was shown to you by the client. So you can't separate the two. They are reflections of one another. So I think that actually brings us to the end of our show today. Maryann, it's been absolutely delightful having you on the show. Thank you so much. Your book sounds wonderful. How can our listeners get a copy of your book, and how can they connect with you?
You can definitely get a copy of Lady in the Window by going to Amazon or Barnes & Noble. It's in hard copy or ebook. You can also just go to ladyinthewindow.com. That will bring you right to my website. And people can email me through my website or my Facebook page, Maryann Ridini Spencer. I'm always on that, talking to people who read the book and people who have questions about my other projects.
Mm. Are there any other projects that our listeners might be interested in to do with the spiritual side?
Lady in the Window has a sequel book, The Paradise Table, that will be coming out sometime later this year. I don't have an actual date yet from the publisher, but it will be later this year. They can just always go to ladyinthewindow.com. I'll have information on that. And I also have I do a show, Simply Delicious Living. It's a healthy living cooking series that's on PBS in Southern California. And I love cooking, and it's like my go-to thing when I'm not writing. And it's just fun. I love to cook and entertain, and I always have recipes that I share.
Oh, that sounds It sounds amazing. Well, once again, thank you so much. Listeners, you've been listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley and Corey. And
Hello,
today,
goodbye.
hello, goodbye. And today's guest has been Maryann Ridini Spencer. We'll see you same time, same place next week.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to another Unlocking Your Truth podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips. For more information, go to our website at drlesleyphillips.com. That's drlesleyphillips.com, where you can ask questions or send her an email, and there's many free gifts on there for you as well. Come back again.